And now for more on the Itaewon incident, we turn to our reporter Kim Yeon-seung, who joins me in the studio. Yeon-seung, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Wogan.
Now, you were one of the first reporters from Arirang to rush into the site this week, and as far as I remember, almost every day you have been reporting on the issue from hospitals to funerals. First, can you share with us your experience?
Well, it was heartbreaking to say the least. And as a journalist, I believe it's my job to be able to describe what's happening and to be able to describe the situation. But I just couldn't find the right words that could fully describe the tragedy that was happening there. And words just felt incredibly light compared to the gravity of the situation. And what breaks my heart even more is that right now there are people who are spinning hate and fake news about the victims and the tragedy of what happened.
Can you elaborate for us more on what kind of fake news and hatred are you talking about? Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the internet comments or some of the viral posts about the Itaewon tragedy, but there are a lot of people who are blaming the victims and the survivors of what had happened. And they're saying things like, oh, why were you celebrating Halloween in the first place? Or you shouldn't have gone to party to begin with. You'll see in a minute here some of the comments, internet comments that are coming up. There are also a lot of posts that try to pin the blame on a particular group of men. Some started saying that a group of 5 or 6 started yelling push, and then they all started pushing. And that's what triggered the accident. But what we have to note here, it's really hard to pin the blame on one person alone or a few people in situations like these. Like this one expert I spoke to told me that in a situation like this, panic sets in. So it's natural for everyone's rationality to go out the window.
Everyone there was probably in panic, even the expert firefighters and police officers there, because nobody has seen anything like this before. When people are in panic, they can't act rationally.
Experts also mentioned that people were most likely adhering to herd mentality, which may have clouded their judgment. And for people who are unfamiliar with herd mentality, that's when human behavior changes when they're in a large crowd from when they're alone.
This isn't the doing of one person. Herd mentality may have caused each and everyone there to push and push, causing some people to trip and some people to be squeezed. It's not right to label one person as responsible.
But every time that there's a major catastrophe, the internet suddenly turns into this blood-eyed witch hunt. And I've also asked experts why this happens.
When there's a big disaster like this one, people are interested in the cause. But when there's no one responsible or to blame, people start to feel fear, and to escape that fear, they start baselessly blaming one person. In psychology, we call that kind of behavior a fundamental attribution error.
Right, Yeon-seung, definitely these kinds of, victim blaming should be stopped at all. But can you tell us more? Like, how could these victim blaming and fake news affect the people who are actually involved?
Well, an expert calls it social murder. He says that there was no way that the people there could have controlled the situation, and pinning the blame on someone who had no control over the situation can really have detrimental effects on their mental health.
When people are blamed for a situation that they have no control over, it makes the person feel helpless. I call this helplessness the mind's cancer. It can even kill someone's mind. So victim blaming is something we should never do.
I think it's very important to note that internet defamation, fake news, and spreading personal information are all crimes punishable by law. The cyber police are currently investigating at least 11 cases of cyber crimes. And I want to finish off by saying that if there is anything to blame, experts are saying that it's the lack of preparation and the slow response of authorities, so nobody who was at the site should feel guilty. Also, if you're feeling any distress or trauma from the accident, please seek counseling. I just talked to an expert who said that people who kept hearing the news about this event, who were exposed to videos and accounts of this disaster, can also suffer from PTSD, even if they were not directly involved to any of the victims, or even if they were not at the site at the time. So if this sounds like you, please don't just brush off your mental trauma. Please acknowledge your feelings that they are valid and reach out for help. It's perfectly natural to feel this way.
Okay, Yeon-seung, hope you can cope with the situation well too. Thank you so much for your report today.
Thank you.